Welcome to You Are What You Read. What if I told you that most of the decisions you made today, from what you ate for breakfast to that big project you greenlit at work, weren't actually made by you? Not the conscious, rational you anyway. What if they were made by an impulsive, emotional, and frankly kind of lazy stranger who lives in your head? That stranger is the star of our show today. Daniel Kahneman, a Nobel Prize-winning psychologist, gave us a user's manual for the human mind, and his first and most crucial lesson is this: your brain is run by two completely different characters. He calls them System 1 and System 2. System 1 is the stranger. It's your autopilot. It's fast, intuitive, emotional, and it handles thousands of decisions a day without you even noticing. It's what lets you know 2 + 2 = 4, or finish the phrase salt and. But System 2, that's the you think you are. It's slow, deliberate, analytical, and takes real effort to engage. It's the part of your brain that solves a complex math problem or parallel parks a car. The life-altering secret of this book is that we live almost our entire lives letting System 1, the impulsive autopilot, run the show, and it makes a lot of mistakes.
And just like that, I'm questioning every decision I've ever made. Welcome back to You Are What You Read, the podcast where we distill the world's most brilliant books into actionable wisdom. I'm Jane, and that was my co-host Sam.
Hey everyone.
That intro was terrifying and fascinating all at once. An impulsive stranger in my head. So today we're diving deep into a modern classic, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. This isn't just a book. It's like being handed the source code for human behavior. Our agenda today is simple but profound. First, we're going to really unpack this idea of System 1 and System 2. Then, we'll expose some of the most common and costly mental glitches or biases that our fast-thinking System 1 creates. And finally, Sam's going to give us an actionable toolkit to help us engage our slow, logical brain when it matters most. Ready to meet the two systems running your life?
Let's do it. The best way to understand the difference is to feel it. So, Jane, a quick question for you. What's the capital of France?
Paris? Easy.
Right. That was instant. No effort, no thought. That's your System 1 firing. It pulled a well-rehearsed answer from memory. Now it is 17 times 24.
Okay, hold on. That's different. I can feel my brain clenching. I have to actively focus. I can't think about anything else. It's 408.
Exactly, and you're correct. That feeling of strain, of deliberate focus, that is your System 2 coming online. You had to mobilize mental energy. Your pupils probably dilated. Your heart rate might have even gone up slightly. Most of us go through our day avoiding that feeling at all costs. Our brain is fundamentally lazy. It defaults to the easy, automatic answers of System 1 whenever possible.
That makes a lot of sense. It's the difference between recognizing a friend in a crowd and trying to find a specific person you've never met in that same crowd. One is instant, the other is an active search. But where does this get us into trouble? I mean, my autopilot seems to do a pretty good job.
It does for basic survival, but it gets us into trouble when we face complex decisions that look simple. System 1 uses mental shortcuts, what Kahneman calls heuristics, to make quick judgments, and these shortcuts are often riddled with biases. One of the most powerful is the anchoring bias.
Anchoring? Like a boat?
Precisely. The first piece of information you receive on a topic acts as an anchor, and all subsequent judgments are tethered to it, even if the anchor is completely arbitrary. Kahneman ran a study where experienced judges were given a description of a shoplifter. They were then asked to roll a pair of loaded dice that would either land on a 3 or a 9. Afterwards, they were asked what sentence in months they would give the shoplifter.
Don't tell me.
The judges who rolled a 9 sentenced her on average to 8 months. The judges who rolled a 3 gave her 5 months.
Oh my God.
The completely random number from the dice anchored their professional judgment.
Annalise, that is insane. So this is why when you're shopping, you see a sign that says original price $500, no, only $150. The $500 is just an anchor to make $150 feel like an incredible deal, even if the item was never worth $150 to begin with.
Exactly. Your System 1 sees the anchor and emotionally concludes great deal before your System 2 has the chance to ask, but is the sweater actually worth $150 to me? It works in salary negotiations, in real estate, everywhere. The first number put on the table dramatically shapes the final outcome.
Wow. Okay, so my brain is anchored. What other glitches does my autopilot have?
Another huge one is the availability heuristic. Our minds judge the likelihood of an event not by its actual probability, but by how easily we can recall examples of it.
So we hear about a plane crash on the news, and suddenly we feel like flying is incredibly dangerous, even though driving to the airport is statistically thousands of times more likely to kill us.
You've got it. The vivid emotional story of the crash is highly available to our brain. Our System 1 screams danger because it's easy to picture, while the boring statistics about car accident fatalities require System 2 to analyze. This is why lottery ticket sales surge in a neighborhood after someone there wins. The story of the local winner is so available, so easy to recall that our brain mistakes that for a higher probability of winning. We're terrible intuitive statisticians.
We're basically walking around with a brain that builds its entire worldview based on the most dramatic, most recent, or easily remembered stories, not on facts.
That's a perfect summary. System 1 is a storyteller, not a statistician, and that storyteller loves to jump to conclusions based on whatever information is lying around. This leads us to making biased decisions about our health, our finances, and our relationships, all while feeling perfectly confident that we're being rational.
Okay, so our brains are being manipulated by random anchors and whatever dramatic story popped up on the news last night. This is getting more and more concerning. What's the next big mental trap Kahneman exposes?
This next one is arguably the most powerful force in human decision-making: loss aversion. Kahneman and his partner Amos Tversky won the Nobel for this work, which they called prospect theory. In simple terms, the psychological pain of losing something is about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the exact same amount.
Wait, say that again? Losing hurts twice as much as winning feels good?
That's right. If I offered you a coin flip where you'd win $150 on heads but lose $100 on tails, most people would refuse. The potential pleasure of the $150 gain is not enough to overweigh the potential pain of the $100 loss. For most people, the offer would have to be something like win 200 to risk losing 100 before they'd even consider it. That 2-to-1 ratio is a fundamental part of our wiring.
I feel that in my bones. It's why it's so hard to sell a stock that's gone down. You don't want to realize the loss, even if it's the smart financial move to reinvest that money elsewhere. The pain of admitting you lost is too great.
Precisely. It explains why golfers are more careful and putt better when they're trying to save par, avoiding a loss, than when they're trying to make a birdie, achieving a gain. It explains why companies will throw good money after bad into a failing project because canceling it would mean accepting a sunk cost, a loss. We are fundamentally status quo creatures because the fear of making a change and losing is more potent than the hope of making a change and winning.
This connects to so much. It's why we stay in jobs we don't love or relationships that aren't working. The imagined pain of losing the familiar, even if it's mediocre, feels scarier than the potential joy of an unknown better future.
You hit on the profound everyday impact of this, and it pairs dangerously with another bias, the confirmation bias. This is our tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs. Once we've decided we like a political candidate, we almost exclusively consume news that paints them in a positive light. Once we believe a certain diet is the best, we see success stories everywhere and dismiss any evidence to the contrary.
Our brain isn't a scientist trying to find the truth. It's a lawyer trying to build a case for what it already believes.
An excellent way to put it. System 1 doesn't like ambiguity. It wants a coherent, simple story. So if it has a story, this stock is a winner, or my boss is a jerk, it will actively filter reality to fit that narrative. It's not that we're dishonest, it's that our brains are literally designed to protect us from the cognitive strain of being wrong.
Okay, I'm feeling a little hopeless, Sam. It sounds like we're all just puppets being controlled by this flawed, emotional, bias-riddled System 1. This is where you promised us a toolkit. How do we fight back? How do we engage that slow, lazy, but much smarter System 2?
This is the most important part. You can't eliminate System 1, you wouldn't want to. It keeps you alive. But you can learn to recognize situations where it's likely to make an error and consciously trigger System 2. Here's your actionable toolkit. So number 1, create a tripwire.
A tripwire?
A tripwire is a predefined moment where you force yourself to stop and think. For example, you could make a rule. I will not make any non-essential purchase over $100 without waiting 24 hours. That 24 hours is a tripwire. It stops your impulsive system 1, which sees the shiny object and screams, I want it, and gives your logical system 2 time to ask, do I really need this? Is it in my budget? Is there a better use for this money? You can create tripwires for big decisions at work, for arguments with your partner, for anything important.
I love that. It's a mandatory cooling off period for your brain. Simple, but I can see how effective it would be. What's tool number 2?
Tool 2 is to consider the opposite. This is a direct attack on confirmation bias. When you feel very strongly about a decision, you must pause and deliberately argue the other side. Actively search for evidence that contradicts your beliefs. Ask yourself, what would I have to see to believe I'm wrong? If you're about to hire someone you really like, spend 10 minutes just listing all the potential reasons they might not be the right fit. This exercise forces System 2 to engage and breaks the cozy, coherent story that System 1 has built.
It's like appointing a devil's advocate inside your own head. That feels uncomfortable, which I guess is the point. It's the feeling of System 2 actually working. Okay, what's our final tool?
Final tool. Reframe the question. This is your weapon against loss aversion. Because we are so afraid of loss, how a choice is framed can completely change the outcome. If a doctor tells you a surgery has a 90% chance of survival, you feel pretty good. If they say it has a 10% chance of death, you're terrified, even though it's the exact same statistical reality. When facing a big choice, especially a financial one, deliberately reframe it. Instead of thinking, I might lose the $1,000 I invest, reframe it as, what are the potential gains I'm foregoing by not investing this $1,000 and just letting it sit there? This shifts the focus from the pain of loss to the potential for gain, allowing for a more balanced, rational decision.
A tripwire, considering the opposite, and reframing the question. It all comes down to one thing: slowing down. The title of the book says it all. The key to better thinking is simply learning when to switch from fast to slow.
That's the entire game. It's not about being a robot. It's about being the wise pilot who knows when to take the controls back from the autopilot. Understanding these two systems doesn't just make you a better investor or a better manager. No. It makes you a more patient, more empathetic, and more self-aware human being. You start to see why other people make mistakes, and you start to catch your own. It's a superpower.
And a deeply humbling one. Thank you, Sam. This book feels less like something you read and more like something you experience. It changes the way you see the world and, more importantly, the way you see yourself. That's all the time we have for today. So, here is our call to action inspired by Kahneman himself. The next time you make a snap judgment about someone or something, hit pause. Ask yourself, is this a System 1 conclusion? What is the story I'm telling myself, and what evidence might I be ignoring? Let us know in the comments below which cognitive bias you see the most in your own life. Is it anchoring, confirmation bias? We'd love to hear about it.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Until next time, remember, you are what you read.